Good afternoon, Western Ultimate League fans, and welcome to welcome to beautiful Seattle, Washington, where it's not your typical cold and wet afternoon here. It's feeling like summer. I'm Zigno Zag, and I'm here with my partner.
Charlie Mercer.
And yeah, how you doing, Charlie? It's a nice day outside. It's touched 80s here in Seattle.
It is an absolutely gorgeous day for Ultimate out here in Seattle. It is so warm, so beautiful. There's, a hint of wind, let's call it a thrower's wind, to be had between these two teams, Seattle Tempest and the Utah Wild. What is at stake in this game here today? A spot at championship weekend.
Oh,
The story of this game is really if Seattle walks away with a win, Seattle has clinched their berth to championship weekend and takes the second spot out of the Northwest Division. And if Utah wins this game, they keep their hopes alive. Utah would need to then either win this game by greater than 4 if they lose to Colorado, or if they beat Colorado, then they win it out. They get that second spot outright.
hmm
So there's a lot on the line between these two teams.
yeah. Seattle in a kind of a different spot than they're used to. Uh, Normally punching their ticket early, and now they're having to fight for that second spot. And Utah still looking for its first chance to get in there. So, like you're saying, a lot on the line, a lot to be excited for, and it's a great day to do it.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Utah Wild roster. You see those Utah Wild players coming onto the field, congratulating each other. So this is the roster that we have today. It is really all of the Utah stalwarts that we have come to know and love. We have Olympian Stacy Gaskell, who is, their first year on the team after moving over.
Oh yeah.
We have Kat Songer, we have Paige Kircher, we have, you know, we have Sarah Judd, we have Brooke Stanislawski. However, the one name that is missing from this roster is Kendra Miller. Kendra Miller is playing a tournament in Colombia with a number of other players who are part of Team USA. So huge shout out to Kendra Miller for making Team USA, and they are unfortunately not here today as part of that warm-up tournament that they're playing in Colombia with Team USA. If we take a look now at the Tempest roster, we will see a number of Team USA players that are also missing for Tempest. So again, we have a strong roster, lots of players that we have come to know and love. Players like Cheryl Sue and Stephanie Lim and Alexa Kirkland, Karen Elmy, who have really been the stalwarts of this Tempest roster this year. And there are some notable names that are missing. So we are missing Sam Rodenberg and Sadie Jazerski, who are also in Colombia with Team USA. And there are a number of other players that are missing for a variety of other events. So we're missing Carly Campana, we're missing Kate Lanier, we're missing Caitlin Rowling, and so this is a distinct roster and still a strong one.
Yeah, we'll say we're gonna take a little break here as we have some national anthem going down. as we wrap that up and we're ready to start to get things going here. Charlie, I know you talked to the coaches and the players down on the field. What are the keys to the game for Utah?
Yeah, for Utah, they are focused on one, making the sideline hooks tougher for Seattle Tempest. They are anticipating and getting ready in the end zone set for Tempest. And I really love how Coach Dean phrased this. They are going to not be afraid of the mullet. The mullet is what they have nicknamed Seattle's zone, where they have a cup in the front. They have person in the front, or sorry, they have a cup in the front and then person in the back. So you got the,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
good
yeah.
little metaphor you got going. So they are going to not be afraid of the mullet. And I really appreciate how, each of those keys for Utah are geared specifically for their game plan against Tempest. For those who watched the previous Utah Tempest matchup that happened in Utah, it was not the cleanest game of Ultimate we have ever seen. It did have a historic first. It was the first time in Western Ultimate League history where you had a scoreless quarter. So in the second quarter, neither team scored. There were 3 timeouts called, many changes of humans who were on the field playing the game. However, that was not the first time in professional Ultimate League history in which there was a scoreless quarter. There was a men's professional game in 2018 that did also have a scoreless quarter. However, if we jump over to Tempest, their keys to the game are very self-focused, and I think that it's an interesting switch of perspective for each of the teams, where Utah has clearly really game planned for what they're going to do against Tempest. Tempest continues to really say, hey, we are focused on ourselves and we are going to be the difference makers. So the keys to the game for Tempest are, one, they're going to focus on their offensive fundamentals. Two, they are going to dictate their defense, and they are going to continue to build that pressure throughout the game. And three, they are going to enjoy every moment.
And yeah, those are great keys and an interesting perspective, like you were saying. Seattle really focused on themselves. Right now on the field, we have something special going on. We got my guy Jamshid. He's a star in an upcoming documentary about to drop tomorrow. Ultimate Citizen, if you want to check that out. Jamshid, funny story, he was my first ever Ultimate coach, and the reason why I love frisbee today. So.
Is he giving us the ceremonial first throw of the game?
Oh yeah, look at him. Yeah.
So tell us about this documentary.
Yeah, Jamshid is an Iranian immigrant, and he loves to empower people through Ultimate Frisbee. Yeah, he's a school counselor, decathlon athlete. He was swimming the ocean when I was still in elementary, and he's still doing it. So, yeah, he's just a very special person, and I live by some of the values that he instilled in me to this day. So, if you could get a chance to go see that documentary, it's called Ultimate Citizen, and yeah, I can't wait to see it tomorrow myself. So, man, special guy, that one.
And that's a really special opportunity to have that as part of the ceremony of being here if you're with us live in Seattle.
Mhm.
Also, if you are with us live in Seattle, you'll know that this is our educator appreciation game. And, as you're speaking to your relationship with him, what I really heard is the impact that educators make on people, even when they don't know it, and what a lasting impression that can have.
100%.
So shout out to all of the educators who are playing in this game. So on Utah Wild, Carrie Shelke is an educator, and we know that they have watch parties to watch Ms. Shelke playing frisbee. And shout out to all of the students who are at their watch party right now celebrating their teacher. So that's a really special place.
Oh yeah. Looks like both teams are on the line. We got Utah pulling to Seattle, and we're just about ready to get this important game going. Stacy Gaskill looks like gonna send us into the game as the clock's underway. Seattle
Starting off the game with an Olympian. How better can you start?
Cheryl Sue centers it. Drea Baroma streaking across. Oh, good bid attempt here, but an early turn and a quick break chance for the Wild. Shot goes up. Gaskill looking deep into a crowd. Kat Chung and Drea Baroma secure the disc back for Seattle.
I think that's a preview of what we can expect for this game. Lots of big hucks.
As soon as you say that, Whiffler in the deep space. Oh, just out of reach there. As this Wild first point is switching back and forth. The Wild defense now on offense. Sending it back. Shordahl gets it off. The shot. Whiffler gets a mid on it. Back and forth we go.
When joking with the teams beforehand, about the last game, both of them really acknowledged that they had incredible defensive pressure, and I think that is exactly what we're seeing so far in this game.
A great bid right there. Shot looking deep to Yason. Little out of reach. Marathon point here. Oh. Lower toe streaking. Seattle looking to steady the ship here. Kirkland. Gaskill going. Lets it go. Gaskill hunting it down. 20 yards away from anybody on her team. Looking for help. Finds one in the end zone. That's Addie Thompson. Collects an opening break for the Wild. Wow.
That's a statement point for the Wild. Coming out saying, we are here. We know what's on the line. We know that we have to win this game to keep our championship weekend hopes alive.
100%. I lost count of how many turnovers there were on that point.
Appreciation to Stacey Gaskill on that one. You know, Gaskill, again, came over. This is their first year playing with Utah. The hustle that they show in, tracking down this disc, finding that deep space, gaining separation, but then also the poise as they're looking around, trying to identify where the open throw is and being able to put a leading inside out to an open receiver in the end zone is really great. And I think that, Gaskill gets a ton of recognition, well-deserved, for being an Olympian. And, that's actually not what distinguishes them the most. They are such a phenomenal teammate, right? Everyone has a smile when they're around Gaskill, and it shows in their play.
Great. Another pressure there by the Wild. Shea Wallen takes it back. Wild with another break opportunity here. Sails it a little bit. Now here comes Seattle. Looking to get on the board here. Cheryl Sue over the top of Drea Baroma. Seattle a little out of sorts here to start off. Aragon. The Wild swing it all the way around. Off the line to Shelke. Aragon through the contact, collects.
Calling a foul on the play. You can see the replay here. Seems like a very accurate call.
Textbook. Ooh. It is a nice day to sail in Seattle, but not so much with the throws.
You know, when we look at the story of the stats, the thing that sticks out to me is how similar the stats are for both of these teams. The
Hmm.
completion rate for Seattle up until this game is about 86%, and the completion rate for Utah is about 85%.
Looks like a timeout was called from Seattle. Keeping possession.
Something that Seattle's doing differently this year is, you know, they've, with their, you know, championship roster from last year, you know, the first 2 years of the league, Seattle comes out and, you know, wins the overwhelming majority of their games and wins the first two WL championships. Rah, rah, rah. Excellent roster. And there was a significant roster turnover for this year. And so we've seen a number of players who've had to develop and step into these big shoes of players who left. And they're doing that, but it has meant that the Seattle roster isn't quite as deep as it has been in the past. And so Seattle has moved from playing their traditional three lines, who are and every player is expected to play offense and defense, to sub-calling. And many players are still going both ways and are playing offense and defense, but there is a lot more intentionality of we want this specific combination of players for this specific instance. And so, you know, USA Ultimate Hall of Fame coaches Pam Krause and Deb Scheibe, like, they know the game deeply and they use their timeouts intentionally, like here, as okay, we've had a couple of turnovers already. Let's get a new set of players that we can trust with the disc on the field, give them a chance to reset, and put this disc in so that we can get a hold instead of starting the game with Utah getting 2 breaks.
Ooh, Helmy sure-handed in the backfield as we get back to gameplay here after the timeout. Icky with the flicky. Gets it off through pressure. Seattle working it now. Power position, it goes up. Gaskill gets a block for the Wild. Another break opportunity here.
The Lauren Meyer-Gaskell matchup is really fun.
Leaving it on the shelf. Ooh, Gaskell really putting their imprint on this game early. Lets it go. Ooh, through the middle of the end zone. Just out of the reach.
Those leading inside pucks are really tough to make. You know, there's a small window for the receiver, you know, and it can be absolutely killer when they're successful, right? Gaskell scored the first break, or through the assist on the first break with a throw like that, but that one had just a little bit too much zip and shows its downfall.
Seattle giving a short field for the Wild to work, and that's back-to-back breaks to start this game for the Wild.
Shayla Wallen on Wild, throwing an around backhand to space. That is a much more sure choice. Really great decision making. Way to monopolize on the short field turn from Tempest to put that in.
That was Mackenzie Finnegan punching it in for the Wild.
When we think about these teams, it's fascinating how much, like, what both of these teams are very streaky, and we don't know what version of each of these teams we're gonna get. Are we gonna get the Utah Wild that just looks like impeccable and just unbeatable? Are we gonna get the Tempest like the way they were in their last home game against Colorado, where they dismantled Colorado? Or are we gonna get the Tempest that showed up when they went to Colorado the following week, where Colorado had a statement victory? And both of these teams are really streaky, and so I think we can expect a game of runs here, where we can expect either of these teams to rattle off a number of breaks and the other team to be able to respond with a number of breaks of their own.
Little disconnect there downfield. As the Wild with another chance here. Finnegan. Looking deep. Gaskell again. That's a familiar connection. Just like some Wi-Fi.
The Wild energy right now is palpable. If you look at the body language of these players, Wild is pumped up. They are ready to go, and Tempest is feeling down. They're gonna have to turn their body language, their energy around to be able to increase their efficacy on the field to come back from this 3-0 like
hole.
hole.
I think a lot of it is like Seattle's at home, but this is the first time the weather has broke 80 since like last summer. So it's like, yeah, they're at home, but it's also like their first time playing in the heat in a long time. So that could be adding to this slump in the beginning here. It's hot. Steph Lim centers. Crowley. Ooh, the mid to Cherry.
Cherry's red hair is looking fly today.
Pick call.
Utah running primarily a vert stack offense so far this game. It's pretty collapsed at the moment. Still trying to get a little bit situated.
Aragon with a nice fake. Gets it to go. Little feet tangling.
So there was a violation called, so the disc is going to go back to the thrower. So what happened here is that in the WUL, there is the 4-second pre-stall movement.
Yep.
And during that pre-stall movement, the players are allowed to move, but the thrower cannot make any throwing motion. And the Utah thrower threw a fake before that 4 seconds was up, which was the result of the violation, which is why the disc came back to Utah and is now at about center field.
Mishap in the backfield. Oh. Foul downfield. Uncontested. Charlie Ide picking up the disc.
Great work by Wallen, really like intense pressure. Again, speaks to the defensive pressure that Wild is coming out with. I think you can, also like feel the respect and camaraderie between the players on the field. And, for having such a small Northwest conference, there's so many opportunities for these players to get to play against each other, to get to know each other, both on and off the field. And it really deepens the friendship and deepens the respect between opponents.
100%. Slim around the Cherry. Oh no.
That is Cherry's second drop at this point.
Aragon starting the counterattack. Swings it off to Shordahl. Now up. Wallen again on the sideline.
Aragon with the move to get open there, just shredding her defender.
Very shifty. Into the deep space. Oh, over the top. Wow, and the Wild punch it in again.
Wallen with the goal there from Norris. So chill for Wallen.
That dish just sailed right over the top. It's kind of hard to read when it's coming at you at that angle, but yeah, Seattle really needed that one to be blocked. Oh. Good patience by Norris.
Yeah, I like that you can see Norris, faking the backhand, seeing that that player was covered, and still being able to see the space to recognize that there was an uncovered Wallen at the front cone, and if I just step and throw a forehand instead, we got an open. The score that is on your screen is incorrect. It is 4-0. Utah is up 4-0. Seattle has not yet scored. So we're just under 3 minutes left in the first quarter.
Ikran Elmi centers. Here comes Kirkland. What an effort. Whiffler collects, sends it, looking for Chung. Over the top. D Bozone.
And we need to shout out Justine Sherwick with the bid on the earlier underpass.
Gaskill letting it rip. Is it going to come back? It does not.
Again, looking at the stats for the team, Utah's huck completion percentage is about 55%, and Tempest's huck completion percentage is about 49%. And we can see that, both of these teams are looking to huck, and they're willing to say, it's okay if we're about 50-50 on whether or not our hucks connect. And that's about what we've seen in this game. They're putting them up repeatedly, and okay if they don't connect.
Elmi connects to Chung there. Sends it, has Whiffler and Baroma. Whiffler rips it out the sky. Gets Seattle on the board. There we go.
Because even if you don't connect on the other ones, you get that pass where you have Elmi to Chung to Whiffler. You have two away shots that both connect, and you score in two passes.
For sure. A little shock to the energy for the Tempest there. Shout out Ikra and Elmi having a run to go get that disc. And then putting a dime out there.
Whiffler's first year with Tempest this season and really has created a space for themselves, whether it's offensively or defensively. They got a block earlier in this game already on a deep puck, and they scored jumping over a big pile of players. There's someone who has continued, their growth as a player has continued to accelerate over the course of this season. They're getting more comfortable with the disc, and their athleticism and ability to read discs in the air has just been exemplary. Player watch, Bridget Whiffler.
100%. Oh, here comes that mullet, maybe?
Yeah, it's the mullet. That's not what Tempest calls it, but it's a good name.
Oh, through the middle. Songer, former Tempest player, on the field now. Kayak dumps it back. Through the middle now. Kircher gets it off.
This is the first we've seen of the Utah O-line.
Oh, puts it on a platter. Cassie Wong connects on this one.
The
Foul
Seattle
called.
sideline is unhappy about that call. You can hear them in the background.
They're waking up. They're here.
On that contested foul call, the disc will get tapped into play where the players are standing because it is in the end zone. And as they walk into the line, then everyone is free to start moving themselves.
Castique Williams with it in the, looking for it with the lefty. Easy connection there to Lily Terpster.
When I was talking with Coach Jean LaRue before the game and asked him about players to watch, players outside of Paige Kircher and Brooke Stanislawski and Kat Sunger, who we know are really the name players for Utah, he named number 9, Cass Williams, as one of the players to watch. And that Williams is a really dynamic hybrid player who could very well be catching a big goal or throwing a big goal, is going to be mucking around in the handler space and then clearing out of there, busting downfield. And I think that their dynamism is what was on display there with throwing a little lefty inside and after being skying for the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, 100%. Being 5'10" puts you up there in height for people on the field. So we'll see how they contribute as we move forward. Seattle sliding in to this O point. Cheryl Sue, QB1. Dumps it back. A nice gainer there. Seattle gaining momentum. Roma is waved off. Centers to Kirkland instead. Over the top, Cheryl Sue. On the break side, communicating with fakes. Now in the middle. These two have been working all season together. Gets it right back. Oh, knocking on the doorstep. Gets it off. Kat Chung collects in the end zone for the Tempest.
Tempest being successful with the small ball there. When they're increasing, when they're patient with the disc and willing to move the disc laterally, and instead of just looking for the big away ball, that was a really effective possession for Tempest. The chemistry between Kirkland and Sue is really great.
I want to shout out Jess Spalding. Had a look. It wasn't 100% look. Didn't take it. Dumps it, and we end up on the break side. And Seattle flows off that one small decision.
So, just like that, we are at the end of the first quarter. It was going by so fast. We're having so much fun.
For real.
Score is 5-2. Wild is up.
Yeah, Wild. Up on top. Seattle looking to respond here in the second quarter, and we will take a break right now and come back at you for the second quarter. Stay tuned.
Fish in pursuit, but it is caught. Teresa Zettner.
What an incredible!
Oh, my goodness, the layout grab from Kristen Pajunas.
I just stood up. I couldn't even sit for that. First of all, the angle of that throw. Second of all, the finish. And watch the inside out. Just look at the angle of this throw. What a great grab.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Sue, and I'm number 24. This year's team is going to look a little bit different, but I'm excited to see this version of Tempest build our identity and find our way to play and represent Seattle as a new group. Winning back-to-back titles was awesome, but we never want to be satisfied with what we've achieved in the past. I'm sure that this year's Tempest team is going to be hungry to grow and improve, and I'm excited to continue to build chemistry and dial in our systems.
Welcome back. Occupied Duwamish territory. Upper left USA. Zigno Zag, Charlie Mercer. Look at that crowd. Always a great environment.
Who wouldn't want to be watching one of our only 3 home games? Last year there were 4 home games for the Tempest in the regular season, plus Tempest had the joy of hosting championship weekend, and so there were a lot more opportunities for the home crowds to come out. This has been, really the only game in Seattle where the weather's been nice, enjoyable to be outside. And it's one of many fewer opportunities to get to see these phenomenal athletes compete in person in Seattle this year.
The wind has picked up. It is a bit swirly in the stadium, as people have come to find out. So Seattle throwing this lookout. But the Wild doing good. Kayak centers it. Looks like Seattle's out of it now. Big gainer to Songer. Songer lets it go. Puts it on a platter. Popping it in the end zone.
Stanislawski with the goal.
Heard this Songer before.
This Utah O-line is on point right now. The work that they did to game plan specific to Tempest is really showing through. So Tempest came down with their mullet zone, and the handlers were really prepared for it and looking to drive through the middle of the field use that space, and that's what Kat Songer did there to get open and then put that disc up to Stanislawski, who was busting deep for it and really ready to aggressively attack that space.
No hesitation. That's what stands out to me. Songer, as soon as they get it, trusting what they see and delivering. Aragon floats it. Will it stay in bounds? It's coming back. Nice. Lands in bounds. Lower toe gets it off to Sue. Sue up to Chung. Chung and Whiffler. Back to toe. Oh, digging it out. Meyer. Seattle working it. Whiffler just out of reach. The Wild with another break opportunity.
Pick called on the field. Utah trying to get themselves organized, and the bunching in the middle of the field is really what led to that pick.
Oh, Kirkland going for the block. Wow. Drea Baroma. Looks like conversation should be had.
Baroma did have the inside lane, and there was a lot of contact. I really appreciate Ultimate for having this, foul contest and the ability to both respect your opponent and have the conversation, and also for there to be sort of this redo. In this instance, it does look like that foul was uncontested, so Wallen will keep the disc here.
I don't think they're.
I'm incorrect.
Okay, there we go.
Oh.
I don't think I've seen a contested foul call today so far. So a lot of respect from both sides. Ooh. Aragon. As we like to say, the ball does not lie. Seattle getting another opportunity here.
And I think it's really speaks to the defensive pressure, right? The previous two passes both had layout bid attempts. And, even if those didn't result in result in a block themselves.
Kirkland to Sue, how do you do? Put it on a platter. It don't even matter. Seattle with another bucket.
And it was the defensive pressure that Seattle was putting on that generated that, right? And through their defensive pressure, like Coach Deb Scheibe was talking about before, that's what's building, that's creating this offensive pressure here. Cheryl Sue laying out for that goal because her teammates were laying out on D moments before. And that's ramping up the energy that Tempest is going to need to mount a comeback if they want to clinch their spot in championship weekend.
For sure. Being one of those people that were on those championship teams, you kind of looked at as like a leader. It's like if my teammates are doing it, I have to do it. And here comes a big pull.
It's a beautiful pull by Charlie Eide.
Oh yeah. Good loft on it. Kircher all the way around now. Back to this side, Stanislawski. Good pump fakes. Content to swing it around here on the Wild. Not really gaining much yards. Looking for their moment to strike. Very deliberate here on the Wild. Kayak finally gets involved. Stanislawski lets it go. Stoller in the end zone. Reads it well, collects it in the end zone.
Body language from Cassie Wong there. she's like acknowledging that she got out red. Appreciation to Stanislawski who had that throw there. Stanislawski leads the Wild in plus minus. So, you know, the plus minus rating is whether or not your team is scoring when you are on the field. And so Stanislawski is showing why they have a plus minus rating of 9.5. That when they're on the field, they're putting discs up into the perfect placement that lets Stoller be able to box out Wong for that goal. Really great work by Stanislawski.
Textbook body control, box out. Read, box out, score.
Yeah. Stanislawski also one of the leading players in assists for Utah Wild. 4 assists on the season, 4 goals, you know, impact player on the O-line.
For sure. Here comes Seattle. Kirkland with a little bobble. No problem though. Back to Sue. Yay, son. Inbounds. Tippy toe. Mayer keeps it in. The wind is picking up. Kat Chung through the outstretched hands of the defender as one goes from Kirkland in the deep space to Yay Sun. Yay Sun leads. Yay, yay. Seattle gets back on the board.
And this is the Tempest that showed up last home game against Colorado. This is the Tempest that just looks on point. Their throws are crisp, they're athletic. You know, you have Kirkland putting this touch pass to Ye-Sun Lee into the back of the end zone, that towing the line back here, but also earlier in the point, Lauren Meyer towing it in on the sideline. Kat Chung catching it under pressure. You know, that's a combination of longtime Tempest veterans and new players to Tempest. Yike, like Lee, number 81, great number, who are arriving. Correction to your scoreboard, Seattle has 4 points, Utah has 7.
Pull goes out of bounds. Songer will walk it to the middle. This is a very important part of the game here for Seattle and for Utah. Closing out this quarter will be a good indication of what's to come.
Wild in a host at this point.
Kircher.
Tempest is out of their zone look and now into straight person.
Pick call downfield.
You can really see the bunching right now, where all of the Wild players are clumped on the far side of the field, and the handlers are sort of isolated.
Another pick called. The first thing that they did when the freestyle happened was everybody was walking this way, like spreading out, and amidst all that movement, that's when the pick occurred.
Tempest defense is really trying to create a gap between the handlers and the cutters and isolate the handlers from the cutters, because Wild is such a handler-driven team. And I think they're being successful at that right now.
That's Abby Davis on the clap layout. Oh, Steph Lim. Putting her body on the line. Fingertips away. Oh, over the top. The Songer. Content keeping the disc. The Wild deliberately looking for their shot. As soon as I say that, Gabby Burkell with the block. Burke Pearl, excuse me. Collects the under. Now Wong has someone going. Tyler Tremonte in the end zone. Seattle with another.
That's a really critical point for Seattle, and had a lot of contributions from new players. You had stalwart Cassie Wong throwing to a rookie on Tempest and Sierra Nada Tremonte. You had Gavi Burke Pearl with the block that gave them possession.
100%. I like in the background you can see some of the Cascades players back there hyping them up. As Mark Munoz, Zeppelin Ronick showing support. Like I was saying earlier, ending of quarters, especially the second quarter, setting yourself up to have momentum going into the second half is pivotal. We'll see how Seattle navigates this 5 minutes. Likewise for the Wild. Through the middle. Lefty dish. Kircher. No options downfield. Finally finds one. Kayak. Toes it in. Instant dump. Now in the middle with Songer. Loving these high release throws here. Back to the middle. Wild's handler movement has been going well. Davis. Over the top, Songer on the doorstep. Like somebody ordered food. Through the middle. Lily Terpster punches it in for the Wild.
The Wilds have been using a hoe stack as their pull play setup to get the disc moving, generate space, and then falling into a vertical stack sort of after that initial movement has dissipated. And I think that is in large part because of the strength of handlers Kircher and Songer. Songer's ability to put that touch inside, it's a really tight window, right? Jesse Crowley was on Terpster's hips, and it had to be a very precise throw, and Songer trusts herself and knows that she can throw that, and goal for Wild.
For sure. Gaskell on the pull.
So much power and loft. It's a really nice pull.
Stephanie Lim. Now to Sue. Under is Wong. Cheryl Sue digs it out the turf. Connects to Lee. Now Lim. Toe. Leaves it on the platter. Cheryl Sue with another goal.
Cheryl Sue is having a great game.
For sure. A lot of impact here.
Fun Cheryl Sue story. Sue really struggled to lay out. It was like an intentional goal for Sue to be like, okay, I want to leave my feet. It's a thing I want to do. And they've been working on it for a number of years. And it's like the next place for them to grow in their game. And they've done it, right? After multiple seasons of intentional work, we have seen Sue lay out multiple times this game, and they're doing it effortlessly and safely, right? They have good form where they're landing on their chest, and they're like, it has added a whole new dimension to Sue's game to be able to get those just out of reach discs that they were trying to bend over and grab before. You too, if you work hard like Sue, you can throw those dimes, you can make those layouts.
And that's on growth. Kircher around to Songer. The Wild Sneaks one through.
Tempest in a 2-3-2 here.
Good connection downfield.
They've not fallen out of it and gone to person.
Oh.
But their chaos, you know, that transition did generate the chaos that led to that turnover.
Seattle now with a chance to break, to inch closer. Gamer runs, like we were saying. On the doorstep now. Ikran Elmi. Right to Slim. Baroma just outside the end zone. Dishes it off. MJ Sampong caps off the point for Seattle. That's another break. Seattle down 1 now, under 3 minutes remaining.
Sampong recently engaged. Congratulations.
Oh yeah.
Got the gimbal on Sampong. Huge celebration for them. Another player who started the season as part of the practice squad and played themselves up into a roster spot for Tempest. You know, again, continuing to be intentional about your work. You too can be in the Western Ultimate League, scoring goals.
Married to the game. Cassie Wong on the pull. Seattle looking to build with this momentum that they've occurred right now. Songer up to Kircher. Over the top. We love a good scooper. Oh my goodness. Williams in the deep space. The dynamo we were talking about earlier gets wild all the way 10 yards out of the end zone. Kircher. Woo! Cheryl Sue gets in there. Denial. Impact. That's what we were just talking about with Cheryl. And it's a Cheryl thing. Goes up to Whippler in the deep space. All alone. Looking for help now. Seattle on the fast break. DeVault gets it up. Through the traffic. Seattle navigating. Whippler in the end zone. Woo! I'm pumped up. Wow.
Whatever the Seattle coaches said at the end of the first quarter to their team, it worked. Seattle has cleaned up their offense. Seattle, like, the defensive pressure was high. It has stayed high, probably grown higher, but what's really changed for Seattle in this second quarter has been their offensive efficiency. They are not turning the disc over the way they were in that first quarter, and that's resulting in points like this one. That defensive pressure from Cheryl Sue, moving it. Most of the players on that line contributed to touching the disc for that to go, resulting in Whippler scoring the goal. It's a full team effort here.
For sure. Wow. We're tied up. Under 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Seattle's really heard our cry here about finishing quarter strong. We'll see how Utah responds. Short off. Gets it off. Oh, just fingertip away for Slim.
This is a swing O-line for Utah. It's not their traditional O-line that they put out there.
Sherwink gets it off. McKenzie, Finnegan. Finna score again.
And that wild swing line understood the assignment. Find the open player, hit the open player, score.
Trying to swing the momentum back to Utah.
You know, when you have sort of different teams do it a little bit differently, but often teams will have sort of an O-line, a D-line, and sort of a swing line. And really the job of the swing line is to be able to go both ways, is to be able to be trusted, to come out as the O-line after you've been broken and value the disc, put it in, and they did just that.
Who's got my back? I got your back. Like that.
Just like that.
Okay, just under a minute 30 remaining in the second quarter here as Gaskill gets us underway. Great loft. Is it coming back? Yes, it is. Great placement there. Centers to Spalding. Tremonte, activate. Over to Lee. Oh, Whiffler. Check your brake pads, folks. Over the top now. Here's Sue. Seattle downfield. Here's Whiffler. Over to Lee. Oh, wrong shoulder. Wild here. Looking for a chance to double up.
Again, Wild setting up in that host stack initially.
Timeout called by the Wild.
You know, that's probably a good call because there were five cutters downfield in the host stack and 2 handlers back. And it looked like there was a little bit of confusion, which is not traditionally how a host stack is run. Typically you have 3 handlers back and 4 cutters downfield. Both with having 36 seconds left in the half and having timeouts that would disappear, so, you know, and wanting to be able to put it in. It's a really intentional and smart call by those Utah coaches. So let's shout out all of those Utah coaches. We have Jean LaRue and Ben Septrian who made the trip up today, as well as Chrissy Mariyama, who sustained an injury, is a player, but who sustained an injury earlier in the season and has stayed committed to the team and has been traveling with the team to offer additional support as a, you know, injured player and coach.
Presence, yeah. Big shout out.
I think that we can expect that Tempest is probably going to throw something a little bit junky here. You know, expecting Utah is going to set up in expecting person, and it really does seem like, yeah, Tempest looks like they're setting up their 2-3-2, so going to try and cause some havoc to stop whatever play Utah has called.
Kircher left open free. As now they're swinging it around. Oh, a shot goes up. Williams. Oh, read it right. The bonk. Seattle gets another chance here. Slim snatches out the air. Up to Wong. Good communication. Chung scoops it up. Puts on a platter. Wong. Kircher. Fingertips. Wow. Looks like the Wild will get the last possession.
So here in the Western Ultimate League, the way this works is even though time has expired, we will play until a goal is scored or until the possession ends. There is a turnover.
We'll see if that slight mismanagement of the clock come back and bite Seattle here. Oh, left wide open. Sherwick gets it off. Continues in the deep space. Terpster. Woo! Foul called.
Looks like Songer and Wong had their feet tangled there. Disc is staying with Songer.
Gets the dump off. Out to space.
Nice shimmy move to move Stefan on the mark.
Oh yeah. Sherwick. Look at the shoulders. Terpster. Back to Songer. Sherwick. Really churning it. Songer going every other here. Ooh. Through the bit of aroma. Abby Davis toes it in. And wow, the Wild score with no time on the clock. Sheesh.
That was such an impressive possession. Tempest had tight defense, and the Wild stayed poised. They hit open shots. They were bidding players past them, and the calm and the presence that every single player on that field from the Wild showed to put that in was absolutely incredible. And I think that that is really Utah Wild at its best.
Oh yeah, and for Seattle, they had a nice little run going. The Wild picked it up at the very end, and man, we're set for an incredible finish here. Yeah, go get your snacks, use the bathroom. I'm Zigno Zag.
I'm Charlie Mercer.
And we'll see you in the second half.
Fish in pursuit, but it is caught. Teresa Zettner.
What an incredible!
Oh, my goodness, the layout grab from Kristen Pajunas.
I just stood up. I couldn't even sit for that. First of all, the angle of that throw. Second of all, the finish. And watch the inside out. Just look at the angle of this throw. What a great grab.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Sue, and I'm number 24. This year's team is going to look a little bit different, but I'm excited to see this version of Tempest build our identity and find our way to play and represent Seattle as a new group. Winning back-to-back titles was awesome, but we never want to be satisfied with what we've achieved in the past. I'm sure that this year's Tempest team is going to be hungry to grow and improve, and I'm excited to continue to build chemistry and dial in our systems.
OT. Number 7, Giants and Chargers, Justin Herbert. Wait a minute. Hang on a minute here.
Looks like that's Western Ultimate League Frisbee. I'd know it anywhere.
It looks like Cody Lippincott, right? Mm-hmm. Laying out, well done.
All right, so I'm going to just guess.
Hi, my name is Ikra Nilmi, or Icky. I'm number 0 on the Seattle Tempest. I feel excited. I'm excited to meet new players and continue playing with old players. Some personal goals that I have for this season is hitting the gym. Another goal that I have is just enjoying the process of playing on the Tempest team. I feel like last year it went by really fast, and I don't really have as much memorable memories that I would like to have. So this year, cherishing time with players. I think the Tempest 24 is capable of doing anything that we set our minds to, as long as we're committed to our goals. I think we can achieve maybe winning the championship.
Hey, my name is Drea Broma. I'm number 23 on Tempest, and this is my interview.
What are some personal goals you have for this upcoming season?
I want to get more highlights. It's fun to see myself on the screen.
Baroma says no!
What do you think this team is capable of going into the season?
Man, 3-peat, right? That's the whole goal. If not winning, what else is there?
This is in Tempest's hand, and as well as a second championship.
What feels different going into this season?
Ooh, for us, I think it's all about chemistry building and about kind of figuring out what kind of team this year would be.
What do you think this team can improve on even after winning back-to-back titles?
There's always something to improve, right? But I think it's maintaining our solid foundation and building on individual highlights, and just if you're good at something, why not showcase that?
We believe that women and non-binary athletes deserve to be seen and our abilities showcased for the world to see.
We believe
in perpetuating Ultimate by establishing professional teams and developing future generations of players.
We believe players of all identities and backgrounds deserve an equal opportunity to be recognized and lauded for our achievements in our sport.
We believe
in sustainably and responsibly creating equitable and accessible avenues for women and non-binary athletes to join and participate in our sport.
We believe that being transparent,
open,
and responsive to criticism is critical,
and that there should always be space
to fix our mistakes, grow,
and be better.
We are the Western Ultimate League.
Hi, I'm Sadie Jezierski. I'm number 77 and I play for Seattle Tempest. I would love to play with even more joy that I had last year. I think last year was just like a lot of growing, getting to know people here and in the community since I was so new to Seattle. I think now that I kind of have my feet under me and kind of get to know people more, I just really want to play with a lot of joy and just play to win. I think for the team, just obviously every team's different, every vibe is different in culture. So with this year, a new team and new people coming in, it's just going to be totally different in how people adjust and how people help each other out. And I think that's just one big difference, but it's a really great one. I think this upcoming season will be really awesome. I think we have a lot of room to grow even from last season. I think we're definitely capable of winning again. I mean, Seattle is such a great hub for Ultimate. Everyone wants to get better. Everyone wants to improve each other. I think that just shows within our play and with winning back-to-back championships also.
In pursuit, but it is caught. Teresa Zettner.
What an incredible!
Oh, my goodness, the layout grab from Kristen Pajunas.
I just stood up. I couldn't even sit for that. First of all, the angle of that throw. Second of all, the finish. And watch the inside out. Just look at the angle of this throw. What a great grab.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Sue, and I'm number 24. This year's team is going to look a little bit different, but I'm excited to see this version of Tempest build our identity and find our way to play and represent Seattle as a new group. Winning back-to-back titles was awesome, but we never want to be satisfied with what we've achieved in the past. I'm sure that this year's Tempest team is going to be hungry to grow and improve, and I'm excited to continue to build chemistry and dial in our systems.
OT. Number 7, Giants and Chargers, Justin Herbert. Wait a minute. Hang on a minute.
Looks like that's Western Ultimate League frisbee. I'd know it anywhere.
It looks like Cody Lippincott, right? Laying out, well done.
All right, so I'm going to just guess.
Hi, my name is Ikran Ilmi, or Icky. I'm number 0 on the Seattle Tempest. I feel excited. I'm excited to meet new players and continue playing with old players. Some personal goals that I have for this season is hitting the gym. Another goal that I have is just enjoying the process of playing on the Tempest team. I feel like last year it went by really fast and I don't really have as much memorable memories that I would like to have. So this year, cherishing time with players. I think the Tempest 24 is capable of doing anything that we set our minds to, as long as we're committed to our goals. I think we can achieve maybe winning the championship.
Hey, my name is Drea Broma. I'm number 23 on Tempest, and this is my interview.
What are some personal goals you have for this upcoming season?
I want to get more highlights. It's fun to see myself on the screen.
Baroma says go!
What do
do you think this team is capable of going into the season?
And three-peat, right? That's the whole goal. If not winning, what else is there?
This is in Tempest's hand, and as well as a second championship.
What feels different going into this season?
Ooh, for us, I think it's all about chemistry building and about kind of figuring out what kind of team this year would be.
What do you think this team can improve on even after winning back-to-back titles?
There's always something to improve, right? But I think it's maintaining our solid foundation and building on individual highlights, and just if you're good at something, why not showcase that?
Jinkies, everybody, welcome back. There's no mystery, but this game right here is pretty wild. Utah has weathered the storm here and is up 2 as we begin our second half here. I'm Zigno Zag.
I'm Charlie Mercer.
And we're underway. The pull is up, and it's out of bounds.
Jess Spalding picking up. You can see the knee brace. Spalding is working through a knee injury, but still is such a trusted player. You know, has the disc in their hands to start off with because they have really excellent breaks and can command the field with their throws.
For sure. Veteran. You need that presence. Shot goes up. Chung looking for Whiffler. Ooh, dinks it over. Baroma there to collect. Ooh. Fake here, throw there. Baroma to Lee. Yay, yay. Seattle scores to get us started.
That play was wild.
Man.
And not in the way Wild wants it to be. This replay, I can't wait for it. That's an incredible block by Cherwink from Wild. Still tips it over to Baroma.
Wow.
Whippler has the wherewithal, like that give-go between Baroma and Whippler, and Lee's ability to just be in the end zone to close it out. It's really excellent work from Tempest. You know, one possession scores. That's what's going to make the difference here. As both teams are upping their offensive efficiency, they need to be able to close out points in just one possession.
For sure. Seattle starts out with a hold. We'll see if Utah can do the same.
Heidi having the disc land inbounds and then slide out of bounds, pinning Songer on the sideline to start. Great work.
Jinky, scuba alert. Terpster connects to Davis. Davis. Stanislavski lets it go. Tremonte gets a finger on it. Kayak keeps it in. Wow. What an amazing display of hand-eye coordination there. Terpstra. Wow. The Wild answer right back. The lead goes back to 2.
The level of athleticism. You know, earlier in the game we talked about like which version of Wild, which version of Tempest is going to show up. You know, the first couple points, it seemed like Wild was showing up, but Tempest wasn't there. And now both teams are firing on all cylinders.
Oh, yeah.
That block by Tremonte, the grr from Kayak to go close out that point, you know, like holding on to possession of the disc, checking for the observers. I think I towed it in. Do you agree with me? Did I tow it in? Yes, I did. And that celebration, the fire, the grr, we are in for a game, folks.
Indeed. Woo! Kirkland lets it go. Chung in the deep space. Body to body. Good box out there by Norris. Wild with a chance to grow their lead here. Kirkland collects for Seattle. Now Chung.
Kirkland, not tall, but finding the exact right space to get that block.
Laura Toe, the lefty, leaves it out there. Kirkland needs an option, finds Sue. Good communication with the hand signals.
Shortall not contesting the foul, so disc remains with Sue.
Wow. Woo! Connects to Cheryl. Up to Whipler. Wow, Seattle answers right back. Hello?
Whipler's third goal this game.
Yeah, we are definitely firing on all cylinders now.
I want to bring it back to Cheryl Sue. Cheryl Sue was the breakout player, the Ulti-World's mixed breakout player of the year in 2021. And that season, Sue was on fire. And they've been a strong player for Tempest since then. But I don't think I have seen a performance from Sue as strong as what they were in 2021 since then. Sue has been on fire this game, and particularly without Jazerski, without Rodenberg, without some of these other handlers in the back, like handlers and players in the backfield. Tempest has needed Sue to step up this game and be everything. And Sue is answering. Sue is answering with bids, defensively, offensively, like huge difference maker for the Tempest right now.
100%.
Tempest using their mullet zone with the cup in the front, person in the back. But again, we're only seeing them hold that for a couple of passes and then fall into person.
Oh, good box out. Sarah Stoller puts up a hammer to Kircher. The Wild answer right back. Back and forth we go, folks.
With clean offensive points. That's what we like. Also, Kircher sassy celebration, phenomenal. On this replay, I hope we get to see Stoller's box out, because Stoller has done that a number of times. So Stoller does a really good job closing out their person so they are able to make those and then passing it off. And I think Stoller's not getting the recognition that Songer and Kircher are, right? Like, Stoller's not going to show up on the stat board for an assist or a goal there, but it was the box out from Stoller that, and like the wherewithal to then reset it back that's going to, that gives the assist and the goal to Kircher and Songer.
For sure.
The music is amping up in this stadium, trying to amp up the Tempest players to close this gap. But Utah's ready.
Oh yeah. Back to Spalding.
Utah is pushing Tempest backwards with their tight defense.
Oh, finds the window. Cheryl Sue hits the ground. Lets it go. Jason Lee giving chase. Jared Baroma instead. Oh my goodness. Not in called. Dre has to walk it back. Looking for Kirkland. Back to Baroma. Puts it on a platter.
Sarah Judd almost got that block. Stayed in the hands of Tempest.
Wow. The blood is flowing now.
This is the game that shows up when these teams know that championship weekend is on the line.
Oh yeah.
This is fun.
Months of preparation, grind work, months of togetherness, all unfolding in front of our eyes.
And I think Baroma is one of those players that really rises to this type of pressure in this occasion. Baroma plays with heart and fire, right? You can see the joy in that celebration. And the swagger that Baroma plays with just lights my heart up.
Charlie Ivy on the pull. As Seattle looking to break the tie. The Wild looking to get back to their 2-goal lead. Puts it out there. Stanislavski sends it back. Kircher striking. Has Songer deep. Pump. Goes the other way. Cherry and Elmi there, but Kat Songer comes down with it. Sure-handed. The Wild go back up by 2.
Before the game, Wild coaches were talking about trying to have more help from the Utah Wild cutters in the handler space. And what we're seeing right now is we're seeing the Wild handlers going deep, right? So there, Kircher's throwing it to Songer, who, as a handler, traditionally, is the deepest player in the field and is your receiver. And I think that's a really fun mix-up, and speaks to both like the versatility of Songer as a player, but also the mind games that are happening and adjusting to the circumstances of the game. And how, traditionally one would put a handler defender on someone like Songer, who is like good in small spaces, but by sending Songer deep, you're like stretching and pushing players potentially out of their comfort zone.
Uncomfortable drop there. As the Wild looking to capitalize.
Short field.
Oh, Seattle lucks out there. Just out of the hands. Cheryl Sue walks it to the line. Seattle. Ooh, good pressure.
Cherwink with that block.
Doing the dirty work is Cherwink.
Second short field offensive attempt for Wild at this point.
Good fakes here.
About halfway through this third quarter.
In the middle of the field now. Not in called yet. Oh, puts it right there. Mackenzie Finnegan puts the Wild up 3 with just over 6 minutes remaining in the third.
Perquette was doing work there. Shout out to Perquette for like the small ball movement. Great work by Finnegan for closing it out.
Whew.
Yeah, Perquette and Finnegan are just playing small ball. Short all throw that goal. Really, that handler set for the Wild D-line is doing a lot of small ball work and finding players that are just one step open, that are boxing out their person, and they're having a lot of success with it. That was a critical break for Wild there.
Aragon on the pull. Good loft, crashing back. About half the field now. Spalding picks up. Jinkies over the top. Connects. Yasun Lee. Oh. Sails a little too far. Real mishap here for Seattle. Wild with another shot. It goes up. Wow. What a play. Cherwink. Sure-handed, taps it in. Wow, that's another break for the Wild. Now up 4.
That is the play of the game. I'm calling it right now. The ability to, fly through Lee on defense, get their feet down, was just that footwork. Cherwink. Wild really doing a great job moving the disc laterally to open up the space.
Cash Judd putting it up.
Phenomenal work by Cherwink. Cherwink is, not one of the players that you hear a ton about, but has been such a big contributor in this game.
For sure.
Cherwink is commuting from Oklahoma in order to be able to play with the Wilds. Wild's going to be really happy about that commute right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they're okay with it. Shot goes up, Cheryl Sue. Oh, didn't get enough on it. As the Wild with another shot here.
But again, Tempest is okay with that because this time the Wild D-line has to go the full length of the field, not just the 20 yards outside of the end zone.
Whippler with the run through.
Because you're trusting that players like Whippler are going to get those blocks. On Gaskell, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you were saying, with a lot of these new players, there's big shoes to fill. Oh, good cut there by Elmi. Puts it up. Pressure. Wow.
I mean, Whippler's had some good coaching, from me.
Shameless plug. Nice. Elmi to Sue. Seattle will take it. A dirty hold. Gets it done.
Cheryl Sue, again, continuing to have a really phenomenal game. Elmi has been fairly quiet this game. But I think still showing, their ability to contribute here. Move the disc in small spaces with that give go with Whippler, and then sending it with that away shot to Sue. Sue doing a great job driving upfield to create space.
What I was saying with people filling in for big shoes to fill, the only way people are going to do that is if they eat and grow to fill those shoes. And that's what we're seeing right now. People getting opportunities to show what they got. And I'm loving it. And the pull is up. Utah up 3 now with 4 minutes in the third. Kircher gets centered. Crowley and Lim. Sorry.
Tempest in there 2-3-2.
Yep. You saw what I saw? Woo! Run through. Charlie Eide wanted it. Draws 2.
On former teammate Kat Songer.
Oh, yeah. Seattle settling down now. Right in the 7 yards away. Oh, too much on that. Abby Davis says no.
Well read by Davis. But again, at this point, Utah has to work at the full field.
Oh, Scuber. Now back to Kircher in the middle. Communicating. Leaves it up. Stanislavski connects. Cherwing. Back to Stanislavski with no mark. 3 yards here. Feet tangled.
Conversation happening between the players on whether or not the disc was viable for Stoller to be able to have gotten. There's no doubt that Crowley and Stoller, that there was contact between the two of them, but I think really the question here is whether or not it was too far in front of Stoller. And Stoller is going to be saying, hey, I could have had a play on it, and I think that Crowley is saying, I think that was actually too far in front of you. Again, this is speculation, I don't hear the conversation, but read up here.
Incidental or not, there was still contact. Instant foul call by Crowley. Good sportsmanship. Sportswomanship. Now to the middle. Ooh, a little behind. Sure-handed Songer comes down with it. Content to play with 2. Songer striking. Kat Songer going horizontal. They're pumped. Wow.
You know, earlier I called chirping school as the play of the game. I think that Songer was just like, no, I want the play of the game. Let's go.
I knew something like that from Songer was gonna happen. Didn't know when, but here it comes. Ooh, put the silhouette on something. Come on. The Wild back up 4. Just under 2 minutes remaining in the third. Critical moment here, especially when we're going back and forth. Seattle needing to close the gap.
Wild coaches were talking about being, continuing to be process oriented, that you want to be focused on doing the little steps correctly. That because at the end of the day, like all season, you want to do the little things correctly. That you're trying to make a loaf of bread, but you have to do each of those steps well in order to have the loaf of bread that you want to eat.
Yeah, you gotta bake it. Not like that. As the Wild collects.
They're baking.
Oh yeah. Baking is different than cooking.
And as we head into the end of this game, they have set themselves up well, but like, are they going to be able to close? Up by 4, 1 minute left in the third quarter. Utah is in control of this game right now.
Conversation being had. Bozone with the disc. Baroma on the mark. Perquette steps through. Ooh. Cheryl Sue closed that window. Cherwink, what do you think?
And that's a break for Utah.
As the league grows, the Wild.
We talked about a game being a game of streaks, and that's what you're seeing. Utah's feeling the joy of doing those little things correctly. They are coming together, they are connecting, and the Tempest players look dejected. Their energy is down, the crowd is down. The advantage of having a hometown crowd is not super helping Tempest right now because they're not loud enough. Tempest needs to look in themselves to be able to draw that energy to make a difference here.
For sure. We'll see how it unfolds. There's about 48 seconds remaining before the fourth quarter, so we'll see if the Tempest can chip away here late. Elmi around to Wong. Wong back to Elmi. Directing traffic is Elmi. Woo! Elmi, every other one. Tremonte now. Up to Wong. Good answer there. Just about 17 seconds remaining. Seattle down 4 now.
We were saying that Elmi was being a little bit quiet. Elmi must have heard us. Said, no, I'm showing up on this field.
Oh, yeah. Little clock management tip here. Wild want to keep possession for 17 seconds and then be the last one to have a chance to score here.
Cassie Wong with that goal there. Wong, veteran player, in the medical field, knows how to perform under pressure. Brings a lot of ultimate experience from a variety of fields, both mixed and women's, and knows how to show up in big game situations.
For sure. Big pull here. Songer to Kircher. Back to Cat. The horn is off. The Wild would have the last possession. Leaves it out there. And that will do it. the Wild grow their lead here as we head into the fourth. Now up 4.
This last quarter will decide everything. Who's
Everything.
going to championship weekend? I can't wait to know.
Woo! With that being said, we'll be back for the fourth. Stay tuned.
Fish in pursuit, but it is caught. Teresa Zettner.
What an incredible!
Oh, my goodness, the layout grab from Kristen Pajunas.
I just stood up. I couldn't even sit for that. First of all, the angle of that throw. Second of all, the finish. And watch the inside out. Just look at the angle of this throw. What a great grab.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Sue, and I'm number 24. This year's team is going to look a little bit different, but I'm excited to see this version of Tempest build our identity and find our way to play and represent Seattle as a new group. Winning back-to-back titles was awesome, but we never want to be satisfied with what we've achieved in the past. I'm sure that this year's Tempest team is going to be hungry to grow and improve, and I'm excited to continue to build chemistry and dial in our systems.
Oh yeah, we're back. Fourth quarter action here in Seattle. Utah on top, 17-13, with 1 quarter remaining, with a lot on the line. Looking to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Okay,
Utah.
so you know what's at stake here. Let's talk through what's going to happen in this last quarter. So here, if Tempest wins, Tempest is in. If Utah wins and this game and then loses to Colorado, the next point breaker, the next tiebreaker, first one is standings, then it will go to head-to-head, and so that these two teams would then be 1-1, so it goes to the next tiebreaker on the list, which is point differential in the games that they've played against each other, which means that if Utah wins this game by more than 4, Utah can lose to Colorado next week and still go to championship weekend. If Utah wins by less than 3 points, Tempest has that tiebreaker, so that Utah would have to win. And if Utah wins by exactly 3, then it goes to point differential amongst common opponents, which would include Colorado. So then the point differential of that last game would determine who gets to go to championship weekend. So right now, this 4-point differential that Utah's up by, that's a difference maker, because it means that they can lose to Colorado next weekend and still go to championship weekend.
The implications are mounting. Tremonte gets a hand on it. Thanks for that rundown, Charlie. Wow.
You can see Lauren Meyer there, nicknamed Sting, really like thinking about the implications, contemplating.
Woo. Elmi puts it up. Wong. Baroma. Baroma comes down with it. Up to Wong. Combos in the end zone. Charlie Eide collects. Seattle back within 3 now. Hey.
When I was prepping the different outcome scenarios before the game, I was like, who knows? Like, we're probably not gonna be in this 3 or 4 differential. Like, it'll probably be more clear cut than that, right? It could come down to point differential. So at this point, every point, literally every point matters in who gets to go to championship weekend.
Oh yeah. Whew.
Clean possession.
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
Hope you are too back home.
Man.
11 minutes. What's going to happen? These teams are firing. They're ready.
Bird Cherry on the pull. Centers to Songer. Now Kircher. Stanislavski. Seattle needs a turn here. The shoulders are working. Big gainer. Stanislavski. Whiffler. Guess the answer. Wants to run. Kirkland sends it. Five yards away. But sets the Wild all the way back. Seattle setting up here.
Seattle setting up in their cup in the front, person in the backfield.
Williams gets it off. Staller. Throws it too quick. Can't stall her. Kayak with all loads of time. Ooh. Kirkland with the block.
Meyer ready for a quick movement.
Injury here.
Chung going off the field. Songer also going off the field.
Looks like Baroma.
And Finnegan coming in. Baroma for Tempest, Finnegan for Wild.
Tapping it in, and we're back to live. Seattle needing to answer here.
I appreciate that Kirkland did not huck it immediately.
Timeout called. In the hands of Kirkland before that throw went off.
That was a good call by the Tempest coaches.
Oh yeah.
At the point, most of the offense was still behind the line of scrimmage for Tempest, or most of the players were still behind the line of scrimmage, and so they didn't look like they were ready to play offense. It looked like it would have been a sort of dicey possession, and 9 minutes left in the fourth. Like, Tempest has to use every opportunity to score if they're going to take out this win. And again, one of the unique rule sets of the WUL is that you can sub whoever you want coming out of a timeout. And so you'll likely see entirely different sets of players. Given the players that are standing in the huddles on the field talking, you can see this looks like this is a swing line from the Wild, and it is a different combination. The players who've been mostly playing O-line for Tempest. I think it's a really smart move for the Wild to put on, kind of a number of players who are comfortable going both ways.
Oh yeah. Totally expecting to get another chance at this. Slim snags it out the air. Cheryl Sue, quick movement. Shot goes up. That's Baroma in the deep space. A lovely target. Say cheese. Let's be real.
Those sunglasses, though. But those sunglasses. Dreyer Baroma crushing it. Continues to get better and better.
Oh yeah. Good timeout call there, I'd say.
It paid off, right? Now the game is within 2. 17-15, 9 minutes left. Like, that's what Tempest needs. Sarah Judd putting on defensive pressure. Really great read from Baroma there. Also great celebration. Tempest rotating through many of the players on the roster, trying to see who is playing well at any one time. using the depth of their roster to keep players fresh, particularly on defense. And, you know, whips are being pulled from onto this line because of their ability to get blocks. Wild with their usual O-line out.
Cassie Wong wanting it. Big swing around. Kircher. Terpstra. Digs it off the turf. Songer lets it go. Just out of the reach for Abby Davis. Seattle with another chance here with 8 minutes remaining.
Seattle in their Tempest offense, where it sort of looks like a split stack. You know, so players are on the sideline, leaving that middle of the field open. And that's the downside. That when the players are coming from the sideline to the middle of the field, the defender can take the inside edge and get the block.
Looking for an option. Needs one. Puts it out there. Wow. Lily Terpstra goes body to body with their own teammate for the score. Utah.
That's an important hold from Utah.
Needed that. Some high stall counts there. Dicey situation.
You know, Songer had the Huck turnover earlier in this point, and I think that it's also a calculated choice, again, that both teams are making. But here you saw that Songer, threw the away pass, gained the yards, and by forcing Tempest to have to work it the full 80 yards of the field, Wild is making the guess that they're going to be able to get a short field turn and convert like they just did, right? Kircher put that nice floaty backhand around. Terpstra fought off Staller for the space, their own teammate. And they were able to get that second possession hold.
Kirkland. Sue lets it rip. A little short. Oh, over the top, Baroma. Puts it on a platter. And Seattle with the quick answer.
Meyer with that goal.
Seattle back to within 2 now. 7:11 on the clock.
That wind up from Sue to get that power.
Oh. Just out with his outstretched hands.
I also love that Baroma plays to her strength, knowing that, going up in a pack of people is maybe not her strength, but outrunning them and like that smart of just staying behind and having the disc fall right into her hands is really excellent. And, Meyer's go-getterness to continue driving downfield, to be that continue pass and be open at the point that, and like trusting that Baroma's gonna get it, like that's what clinched that point for Tempest.
For sure. Smarter, not harder. Songer now. Looking to steady the ship. Need an option. Running out of time. Ooh.
Really great defense from Tempest here to force it that high in the stall count. Pick was called.
Oh. Quickly up. Terpstra sends it deep. Gets a tip on it. Oh.
Cass Williams with the goal.
Way to stick with it. Utah Wild backed up by 3. Just under 6.5 remaining.
It's a battle, folks. The same way that Sue had a beautiful backhand wind up to get the power on it. Like Wild's doing that same thing.
That was a nice matchup there in the end zone. Whipler versus Williams.
You know, I was talking earlier, you know, Western Ultimate League does an incredible job on their stats page. You know, you can go to the stats page from the Western Ultimate League website. There are so many advanced stats that you can look at. And the stats tell a story. And it tells a story for Tempest and Wild of two really evenly matched teams and teams that have similar styles. So many of their stats are just within percentage points of each other. They have like similar philosophies, similar strengths, similar challenges, and we're seeing a lot of that play out. And it comes down to the execution of who's going to execute the game plan better.
Oh, Cat Chung got lost in the shuffle and sends it to Drea Baroma. Seattle with a quick answer. Back to 2.
Baroma just unstoppable right now. The clap catch that's coming, tracking it down, knowing that she has all the time in the world. Phenomenal.
Cat Chung got lost there on that cut. It would have lost me too to set that up.
I think Cat Chung is another player, you know, who you're talking earlier about opportunities to shine, and you need to be given that space. And that Cat Chung, while always a strong player, last year was overshadowed by some of the superstars, right? When you have Jamie Erickson as an option, like it's easy to get lost. But Cat Chung, given the space this season, has really stepped up and is getting these huge gainers and shaking off players.
For sure. The score now is 19-17. As the Wild looking to answer. Oh my goodness. Striking up line.
Turfstra just losing Elmi there. Really great moves.
Oh yeah. Kayak carving space out. Ooh. Kircher having to hit the turf. Another one.
Nice leading inside.
Songer. Sure-handed in the end zone. Utah back up 3. Just over 5 remaining.
Shout out to Charlie Eide there, who, you know, potentially could have made a play on the end zone pass, but chose to pull back and, you know, and not make a bid because she would have had to go through the Wild player. Kircher does such a great job directing traffic with her throws. Oh, and Songer with a goal there. Yeah.
That must feel nice. Be up on your former team.
Thank you. 5 minutes left, up by 3. We are right around the what's gonna happen. Are we gonna play the point diff game?
100%. Shot goes up. Drea Baroma is eaten up in the deep space.
Shot from Jess Spalding there.
Drea Baroma keeping Seattle afloat. Chee-hoo!
Like, you can almost look at Baroma's mouth moving, being like, you can't stop me! Like, let's go! Like, go ahead and try. Like, I'm awesome. You know, and I think it also plays to Spalding's strength. Like, Spalding really is like a stand and shoot thrower. And, you know, has the ability to like, okay, you're there, I'm just gonna throw you open, and doesn't need to, you know, I think Sue's hucks often look best when she's getting into that upline power position and she uses that momentum. Whereas I think Spalding has a slightly different style where she's just gonna stand there and huck at the full field.
Because she can. You know? For sure. Seattle really needing a break here. Just under 5 now. Down 2.
Wild offense continuing to look poised.
Oh my goodness. Kircher. Stanislawski legs it out. Wild with a quick answer. Back up 3.
Let's talk about Stanislawski.
Let's do it.
Do you know what tomorrow is?
What is it?
Tomorrow's Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what Stanislawski is?
A mother?
A mother! Happy Mother's Day to Brooke Stanislawski!
And all the mothers out there.
Also, shout out to Mother Alexa Kirkman. But, you know, I think it's so awesome. Like, Stanislawski is out here crushing it, you know, from the handler space, cut deep, and showing the way, you know, how they are a complete player, able, you know, again, Wild sending their handlers as the deep threats, and it is being successful against Tempest right now. Earlier, we saw Songer as the deepest person catching the goal for Wild, and here we're seeing Stanislawski doing it. Like, it's working for Wild right now.
Under to Lee. Big dump to Sue. From the hip, lets it go. Lauren Meyer collects it off the ground. Wow, Seattle not going away. The crowd is starting to hear it.
4 minutes left, down by 2.
The Wild seem content with trading here, being that they're up 2. This is the end where Seattle really needs to apply pressure here, is on the defense. One little thing that I see that's a bit different from normal games here in the stadium is with it being so hot, both teams are on the same sideline. Usually teams are split. So I just think it's a fun little dynamic to watch from the booth.
Sherwick had some really excellent defensive pressure there. You know, like almost had Meyer.
Ivy with another great pull. Centers now. Terpstra. Oh. Slim thought about it. Thought better of it. Stanislawski. Up to Songer.
Who got up?
Airtime, yep. Ooh. Kircher. Foul on the reset cut. Talking about it.
Stanislawski and Ivy, both experienced players. Agreeing to send it back.
Good conversation.
Utah offense really spread out right now.
Freestyle done. We're live. Terpstra in the backfield has been working well here.
Tempest really ramping up the person defensive pressure. You know, everyone is within an arm's length of the Wild player.
Oh. Stanislawski puts it out there. Ooh, okay. 2:15. Seattle with a chance to bring it to within 1. Can they capitalize?
Stoller hustled on that, but couldn't close. Terry is a lefty picking up, is a good person.
Where are you going? Charlie Eide, good read. Now Tremonte, big gainer here. Whiffler has a streaking. Elects not to look that way. Now they do. Catches through the contact. Puts it up there. Tremonte scores for Seattle as they cut the deficit down to 1 with 1:30 remaining. Wow.
Brogan Jones throwing that assist there. Getting the disc from Stephanie Lim.
This is what the crowd came to see. It's a game of runs. Spurt ability.
There's so much on the line right now.
Woo. Like an overcrowded clothes rack.
That shimmy from Steph Lim. Brogan keeping it in bounds. Tremonte like sealing out the Wild defender coming from behind. Well played. You know, Tempest using that opportunity.
Wow, what a swing there. Stoller comes down with that. They're up 3 with 2 minutes remaining.
Wild calling a timeout right now, using this opportunity to rest their O-line. You know, at this point in time, you really, like, the Wild offensive line is such an incredible unit, the way they work together. You know, there have been a few players moving back and forth, but for the most part, this offensive unit has been together, you know, is the same as last season's offensive unit, right? You have Stanislawski and Kircher and Songer in the backfield. You know, Kayak is an addition, you know, was making their return to O-line this game, in large part because Kendra Miller is away with Team USA. So it makes sense that you want your O-line to be in this critical moment where you have to get this hold. You want your O-line to be fresh. You want them to be rested. So you're going to call this timeout to give them a break because you want to put that same group of players that just got broken back on the field because you trust them. But also, it's 80 degrees.
Facts. No shade.
Literally.
Out there is Crowley, Elmi, Kirkland, Tremonte, Heidi, Baroma for Seattle. On this high pressure situation. Big swing across to the middle. Approaching 1 minute remaining. Songer sure-handed. Woo! Over the top. Comes down with it. Davis. Good gainer to Terpstra. Excuse me. Kayak scanning.
That was a timeout call by the Wild coach. So you have two timeouts per half. And so since they hadn't used either of their timeouts until this moment, they were able to call that timeout before the throw went off, keeping possession, right? You know, as a coach, you have that timeout in your back pocket. And if you looks like your player is going to throw a turn, it makes a lot of sense to call that timeout before the disc is released, especially as that stall count is rising.
Yeah, with the system for calling a timeout too, being a trigger system, the coach can call it as soon as they want it instead of having to flag down an observer to call it.
So Utah will maintain possession here. Again, they want to make sure they keep this disc. With 41 seconds left in this game, up by 1. If they score this, they would be up by 2. You know, where clock management really matters.
If you try to bleed the clock and just win by 1, and it fails, Seattle has a shot to go tie it up. If you score now, yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how they play it. 15 yards out. Looks like the Wild are set. Here comes Seattle.
But again, point differential matters. So like, it actually in an ideal world for Utah, they are going to score this quickly, get a block, and then score another one so they can end it up by 3 or more.
Yeah. Oh, great contested grab there by Davis. Wow, a huge play there for Seattle.
Jones with the block.
Answers the call. Lily Terpstra
read that. She was so ready. She saw that pass and just literally just stood there and waited for the moment to big.
Wow. Songer lets it go. Connects. Haruzhnikova in the end zone. Wow. 60 seconds left. Wild now up by 2. Whew. There was a lot happened right there. A lot to digest. Wow.
And the poise that Songer showed, right, in being able to just like put that touch throw down the sideline for Kayak, really, you know, great work by Songer. Shows the years of experience that Songer has. You know, and again, like Kayak coming back to O-line is doing a great job. You know, and fitting in well with this offensive unit that has a lot of experience together.
That layout to get it back was huge. Both huge layouts. Oh my gosh, both these teams really putting it out there.
So again, 16 seconds left. Tempest is down by 2. Even if, right, they still have a shot at championship weekend, depending on what happens in the last game. This is Tempest's last game of the season, but Utah Wild has one more. And so point differential matters. Tempest needs to score this point.
Sending it to Baroma. Sure-handed, yeah. They will have the last possession. Not in called. Every point counts here in the WUL. Pick called. Whew.
On the play, so it's back to Kirkland. Makes sense. Spalding was really open there.
Pre-stall going. It's up. Oh, double-handed spike for the double-handed win. The Utah Wild take the dub by 2, 22-20. Wow, a wild sequence there.
So Wild keeps their playoff hope alive. We are in that nebulous gray area.
Man,
what a game.
That was a great game.
Wild had to show up, and they absolutely showed up. We saw some of the best from both teams. It really came down to execution, and Utah's execution was just a notch higher than Tempest. This was an excellent game from both teams, and they have a lot to be proud of.
For sure.
And let's again kind of go back to what this means, because we are in that nebulous gray area. So, for the last spot out of the Northwest Division to go to championship weekend, Utah currently has a record of 2-3. Seattle currently has a record now of 2-4. If Utah wins next week against Colorado, they will have a final record of 3-3, meaning that they get to go to championship weekend. If Utah loses to Colorado next weekend, they would have a final record of 2-4. And since the first tiebreaker is record, Utah and Seattle are the same. So you go to the next tiebreaker. And the next tiebreaker is they're head-to-head against each other. They're 1-1. So you go to the next tiebreaker. So it goes down to point differential in the games that they've played. So because Utah won by less than 3 points, Tempest has that tiebreaker. So Utah has to beat Colorado next weekend in order to get their spot at championship weekend. If Utah loses to Colorado next weekend, Seattle wins that tiebreaker on point diff by 1.
Oh, wow.
And then Seattle will go to championship weekend. So there is still a path for both teams to go.
For Colorado, who do you want to see?
Utah Wild, you have a ton to be proud of. Seattle Tempest, you have a ton to be proud of. These are the games that we are here to play, folks. All heart, all play, all love. This is what you come to the Western Ultimate League for.
For sure. Well, we can't wait to see it all unfold. And it's been a great season here. I'm Zig Nozag.
I'm Charlie Mercer.
See you guys championship weekend.